Hard to believe. 20 years of L'Aventure. Man, where's the time go? I remember the first release of these wines as, like it was yesterday. 20 years of one of the greatest wineries in Paso Robles. Stefan Aseo, when he came to Paso in 1998, he came from Bordeaux. And, Bordeaux was already pretty ripping at that time. The 90s were very good to Bordeaux, especially the back end. You had 95, 96, 98. You had great vintages. You had a lot of energy, a lot of action happening in Bordeaux at the time. But he found his way here to Paso Robles. For whatever reason, I don't get into the details. But he came to Paso, and it was so funny because Stefan, his timing was impeccable, right? He came from Bordeaux, all this energy happening. You had Durenencourt, Michel Rolland, these new Saint-Emilions, everything, a lot of was popping. And he came to another area which was simultaneously popping. Stefan rocked right into Paso at the same time that, Justin Smith and Lenny Collado and Chris Cherry and all these guys, were making a new style of wine. A new, exciting, unprecedented style of wine from Paso Robles that people had not seen before. And this wine was unique because it was using vineyards new vineyards, but also a concept that at the time Paso never even thought about. In the past, Paso was a little bit about, the valley floor, east side Paso, hot, big zins, big cabs. The whole concept of how can we incorporate balance into a Paso Robles wine? How can we keep the richness and power and intensity of these wines, but maintain energy to the wines? That's what was key, and that's what these guys stumbled onto. They stumbled onto the west side of Paso, Templeton Gap, these wonderful soils that had a little more, calcareous type soils, which allowed for lower pHs, which allowed for greater natural acidity in the wine, where you could push the growing season with these cool nights, with these breezes that come through the Templeton Gap, and create a wine that was huge and powerful, but with these insanely high acid numbers and these insanely low pHs, which you didn't feel. All it did was it created a more balanced wine, which conveyed all this richness and power onto the palate. It gave you the yummies, but it gave you the yummies in a less heavy, ponderous way. It gave you the yummies in this, yummies, I want more yummies sort of way. And that's how the whole west side of Paso really started blowing up. Long story short, Stefan was there. He was smart. He knew, planted vineyards, created his estate, and once straight away started making great wines. I think we probably sold that 01 Optimus. Was 01 first vintage? Maybe 02 could have been the first vintage with him. And the wines were incredible. And over the years, the wines have just gotten more incredible. The vines have gotten older. In 2016, Stefan built caves, so he doesn't have to worry about refrigeration or air conditioning anymore. Everything's aging nicely, softly, slowly in the caves. And he's fine-tuned everything over this process. And the end result, 100-point wine. Happy 20th anniversary, Stefan. 100-point wine for the L'Aventure Estate Cuvee. The Estate Cuvee is kind of like their pick of the litter, huh? So this is, he makes several different wines. He makes Côte à Côte, Optimus, blah, blah, blah. But the Estate Cuvee is like, what can the estate do that's at the pinnacle, at the top of our capacity this year? And more often than not, we got a Syrah base. Here we have 50% Syrah, 30% Cabernet Sauvignon, 20% Petit Verdot. The wine ages in 80% new French oak. So a lot of delicious lumber on this one. And basically, this is pedal to the metal, but West Side Paso style. 15% alcohol, carries it easily. These wines, they can really, really push the envelope. Willow Creek District, where Justin's at, Adelaida, these areas, they can really, really push the limits. And they're allowed to because of the natural numbers that come in from these calcareous soils that they have. It's really something remarkable. And, for quintessential West Side Paso wine with that Bordeaux mentality to it, right? So we are talking a nice chunk of Cabernet and Petit Verdot in this wine. So half Bordeaux concept, half West Side classic Syrah concept. And together, it is one of the most compelling wines in Paso Robles. Let's call it how we see it. So, it just smells delicious, right? I could give you nuanced notes, cherimoya, kumquat. No, this wine just smells delicious. It smells like the color, like the hue. There's just tons of purple in this wine. that black fruit, that purple fruit character is just bouncing around. You sense the Cabernet. The Syrah isn't necessarily meaty Syrah. It's more that ripe kind of juicy Syrah. And yeah, usually you smell the Petit Verdot in there. I don't get it straight away, but I think we'll get it on the palate. Oh, man. Damn. This is a Mack truck of a wine. That is a steamroller. It is, like, hold on. Like, you literally need a seatbelt when you're drinking this. So wonderfully intense. But then, because we're Westside Paso, on the back end, the finish goes and cleans up. It sails through, leaves you wanting more, and cleans up. You're not left with pudding or porty flavors or jamminess. None of that. This is richness, beautiful power. You feel the tannin structure of the Petit Verdot a little bit on the backside of the palate. Petit Verdot is there for that complexity, that India ink thing, good natural acidity, and that PVE, the kids call it PVE, will indicate that this wine is going to age a very long time. 20 years is not, I don't think 20 years out of the question for Stefan's wines. If you pull an O2 from him right now, I'm sure it's drinking just fine. Yeah. I can see why Jeb really dug this one. There's like no holes in this wine. It is complete in every sense of the word. And when a wine is complete in every sense of the word, well, guess what? You got a shot at triple digits. And it is, it's triple digits. 100 points from Jeb, which, by the way, I think it was 98 points Advocate, 97 points Venice. So this isn't, oh, only Jeb liked it, or only da-da-da-da-da, or only, no. The Estate Cuvee from L'Aventure is yearly, basically every year, lauded as one of the greatest red wines produced in California. So you can even look me on Paso if you want and say, hey, I want a great California wine. Here you go. Reasonably priced in the context of the fact that this is 100-point wine and a lot of 100-point gear from California. You know what the prices are. I'd say this is one of the greatest value 100-point wines in the market right now. And we're making a little greater value. If you buy 6 or more, we'll give you 10% off. Comes in these super cool lay-down wood 6-packs. They're dope. You might want to grab a whole 6er so you got that really cool box and just present it and it'll look sharp in the cellar, you know? Man, this wine's really something. I'm still tasting it. Dude, like 90 seconds later, it's like, nom, nom, nom. It's that plum and blackberry and blue fruit. Oh. One of the pinnacles of California red wine. Right here, right now. Happy anniversary, Stefan. Here's the 20 more. You nailed it, dude. Great, great wine. Kudos.